must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant and I call you leader,
Yes.
probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers,
Yes.
do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically. He was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are
Yes.
deviant and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers,
Yes.
do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, Doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi, simultaneously in London. Good morning, wherever you are in Africa watching this program. This morning is supposed to be Good Morning Africa, but we shall have the first part of this Good Morning Africa, looking at the People's Court. In the People's Court this morning, we shall look at accusations, counter-accusations, stories of assassination. Do we call it a hoax, truth, fiction? I want to state, and begin by stating categorically that any threat on any human being, anywhere, whether small, big, medium, large, is a threat that can not be taken lightly. I want to make it categorically clear again that such threats must be backed with facts. And if there is any threat to any human being in security, they are taken not lightly. They are taken with a lot of precisiveness. Matters must be reported to the police. Matters must be recorded to the police. Matters must be in occurrence book of the police of any country in the world. There is no need of washing any threat under the carpet if there is a threat. There is no need of threatening any individual because of his or her political affiliation. There is no need of judging, making gestures that can threaten a human being, because Africa has enough space for fools, enough space for clever people, enough space for intelligent people, and above all, enough space for honorable people. A threat to life, or even a threat to animals. That's why we protect elephants, zebras, giraffe, and the rest of the things. We protect them. We protect dogs. There is animal safety unit in most of the countries developed in the world. A threat to humanity, a threat to anything that moves, that can be very useful to humanity, is a threat indeed. But this threat must always be credible. A threat of that nature must be always be credible, investigated with records laid down before the law. Law enforcement officers cannot sit and watch if there is a threat. I want to take this opportunity to thank the authorities, the ministers, and to thank everybody who was concerned or whose name was mentioned to go to the police and lay a background whether the threat or whether their names are involved in the threat. We are not going to go into the details, the merits and the demerits, but we want to state factors. Every threat has got factors. Is it legitimate? Is it true? Is it a hoax? For example, we can say there is a threat, fire is coming. It could be a drill, not the real fire. Who is making the threat is very important. Any common person in the village could make a threat, and a common person can receive a threat. Who's receiving the threat is very important. These are key factors. Security officers look at either to heighten the situation, yellow, green, and red. The situation of security and the threats are put in those three categories. And if you're a security officer, some of us started working in security offices in 1980. We started moving. We started moving with Dr. Milton Obote. We started having advance reports. Whenever Dr. Milton Obote, president, would go, we send advance team to comb the areas to find threat. Is there a threat to the life of the president? It is very, very important that these matters in Africa are the matters that retard us. We retard ourselves. We bring ourselves down to stupidity. We don't learn of yesterday. We don't pick the experiences of yesterday to make them useful for tomorrow. That's why there are conflicts in Africa. We talk about taking power. We don't mind how people whom we shall use to take power can become very hazardous, or can be killed in the process, can be trampled upon in the process. Look at the situation in Sudan, for example. The many 60 people who have been killed don't know whether power has been taken. But a threat to life, if it is real, is not the best thing. I want to remind my audience that I'm one of the few people who has had escaped those type of threats. First, when I left my country from 1985, I have received threats of assassination, poisoning, and many other things. Women coming in format to love me, discover them with pistols. I've gone through those type of threats from 1985 to date. From 1985 to 2008, I underwent several threats because of standing for the truth. My life was threatened. My businesses were closed down. in London. I lost quite a lot. But I never gave up to tell the truth. If you are telling the truth, the worst part of human beings, black people, is when you tell a black man the truth. Malcolm X was right to say, when you tell a black man the truth, he turns you into an enemy. The situation of Kenya has been coming and coming and coming, and some of us have been telling the truth. We have been saying there's something which is not very, very good. A macabre story, a macabre situation, a situation that has become unmanageable in the sense that people are not listening to the current dispensation. Instead, they are listening to themselves. This type of events were seen in 2007, and I've seen very many other places where conflicts have erupted. I've been in Zimbabwe. I saw in 1997, 2002, when Changarai went around telling people he's being threatened to be assassinated, said Israel. We had a very long case of assassination of Changarai, where some of us, our names were romped in. Morgan Changarai lied that Manashi, an Israeli agent of Mossad, a great friend of mine, had been hired. They met in a hotel in London to assassinate. Some of us have been, William Pike wrote a story, who is now the editor of the Star newspaper, that people had planned to assassinate President Museveni. A hoax. So I speak from experience. A hoax. Someone can create a hoax story that can make the whole country, the whole world panic, and turn you into either one, you are the victim, or turn you into the object used. Stories of hoax stories appear, especially when the political climate is heightened. Plans about assassinations appear when a deficit policy comes in. When you are defeated, you haven't achieved what you want to aim more, you must create a vacuum by saying there is a problem. Stories of assassination, whether real or imagined, come from differences, come from people who are determined. Most of you who have read the books, the matters that appear today could be like the novels of the mother he wrote himself, or the mother she wrote herself. You have read such novels. Assassination attempts could be real, could have truth, but it could be fictional, could be a hoax. To win public sympathy. That is why it is very important for the government of Kenya to go to the deep end of the sea, find the truth about this accusation. Because things are no longer at ease. Things are no longer the same. Things cannot stand the same. The cabinet secretaries versus their boss. We can't keep quiet about talking this. How will they sit in cabinet today and tomorrow when each of them is pointing a finger at each other? How? Who manufactured this lie? Who brought out the letter? What was the intention of the letter? I want to leave this to the People's Court. My program, the People's Court, we bring topical issues that concern Africa. Everywhere in the headlines all over the world, you will see everybody talking about this story. An assassination attempt on the Deputy President of Republic of Kenya, organized by members of Parliament or members of the Cabinet. Therefore, it is important to record a statement of facts, a statement of facts that can be put on record, such that this is not a case that is going to end here today. It's going to go far. There is no reverse on the case. Accusations have been put in the public. The public has known. You created a perception, created an avenue of sympathy, whether fictional or truth. There is a sympathy issue here. You have created masses to move. Awareness, a perception created that there is a clique that wants to kill the Deputy President. It cannot go away anymore in the Kenyan politics. Whether for it is real or not real, it is not for me. But for me as a journalist, an investigative journalist, more so, who can piece up piece by word, piece up the letter, look at the letter. Why was the letter removed, the signature? If the person was reporting, why was the letter put in public? If this public, if the letter, the matter was reported to the president, why was it again put in public? What is the person putting this letter in public seeking to achieve? Public sympathy. Most of you have read the book called The Prince by Nikolai Machiavelli. I have time and time again on this television and on this network, and I don't fear to say it, because you die once, and say it, stand by the truth, save several people. People who die for several people. One person can die to save the truth. I've said time and time again, Kenya is a wash of Machiavellian politics. People plant stories during night time, and they come to defend them during daytime. I saw this in Zimbabwe, when Professor Jonathan Moyo used to plant stories purportedly talking about President Mugabe. Then he comes during daytime to defend vehemently, telling the world that we shall defend our leader. That's Jonathan Moyo, the one who lingers in these hotels here. That lumpen you see there. That Professor Jonathan Moyo tortured so many Zimbabweans, married so many Zimbabweans, made so many of them go to exile. He used to plant stories at night. He gets them from a section of security agencies, plant stories on his fellow cabinet ministers, turn around and say, you see, Mr. President, I had to defend you. This is it. I've seen it. That Professor Moyo, you see writing stories. There is evidence where he planted so many stories. One of the people who let Mugabe down was Professor Jonathan Moyo. Leaving Zimbabwe aside, you come back to the truth. Africa does not need assassination attempts. Africa needs a ballot and a box. Africa needs politics of togetherness, unity, the politics of development. I'm not going to condemn. I'm not going to please. I'm speaking as an elder. At the age of 64, you will not be my age. You won't defeat me. You can defeat me in money, but not in age. I was born much earlier. I've eaten so many grains of millet. Therefore, listen to me, ye. The route that you are taking this country is slippery. The route is very slippery. We have forgotten the history that we went through, that some of us stood, picked our own money to go and defend you. You've forgotten that. You have never even come to say thank you to us. You are taking this route again to the question of assassinations, to a question of malice, hatred, political provocation, incitement. The president has said, don't. You go on doing it. You yourselves are to blame again. The international community is watching. They are watching, documenting each and every document, every word that comes in. The story of manufacturing documents, filling these documents. I'm speaking as an editor. Forget Matsanga now. Just look at 64 years, where I've seen several governments overthrown in my hands, until I found myself without a state. But I'm warning, I'm just giving advice that my brothers go slow, because this is your country. There is no need of having difficulties of talking. Why the oil can solve the problem. Let's not be Machiavellian. Let's not play tricks. Tricks don't serve. The matter before us, a threat is a threat. Whether a threat to an animal that does nothing to do to you is a threat. Therefore, if this threat is real, can we have this threat documented? Go and document the threat to the police. During my ICC days, NGOs threatened me, others threatened me 47 times. In 2003 to 2007, in the United Kingdom, an ultra-nationalist group planned to eliminate me. The record is on in Scotland Yard. We can pull it out, they will tell you. They plan to eliminate me because of my talk, my sincerity, in the United Kingdom itself. I was summoned from the African Union, AU, had gone for the summit of AU to return to United Kingdom, thinking I had committed a very serious crime. Only to reach United Kingdom in my address, I called all my children to be at my house before I left Nairobi in 2003. I told them to be in the house in the following morning. This is my true story. I was by then fighting sanctions against Zimbabwe. I was supporting President Mugabe. I did not know why the British police wanted me. I returned to the United Kingdom. I reported to Croydon police station after talking to all my children and surrendering all my documents to my wife, that in case I go, these are the will, this is the bank statement, this is the bank. Help the children. I don't know what I've done. I went to Croydon police station with my firstborn daughter. Only to arrive at the police station, the people who I was told to see came laughing and smiling to me. This is the true story. They came smiling to me. 2 senior superintendent of police from Scotland Yard. I wouldn't say their names today. They said, "Are you Dr. David Nyekora Chimatanga?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, welcome. We are happy to see you." This is not what I expected at the police station. What I expected at the police station was very simple. To be arrested and maybe charged, maybe there was an offense. Viewers, I got a shock of my life. Only to sit down with the superintendent lady of Scotland Yard to tell me, "We are very happy that you are alive and you have come back here, and this is the situation." The rest of the story is, I will summarize it for you. The rest of the story is, this is the situation. We have summoned you here because there is a threat to your life. We have detected threats through telephone conversations of a certain group that wants to assassinate you. We won't tell you the group. We won't tell you anybody. We shall not tell you who wanted to kill you. But from now onwards, these are the following things to do. 1, the record is in Scotland Yard. You can go and get it. You can get it, and I can get it for you. From now onwards, these are the areas in London where you can go, where you should not go, where you should play, what time you should come in the house, and this police will come over to your house to install an equipment that will signal anytime you see a knock on the door or any unnecessary movement outside your house, you press that button. From 2003 to 2008, that equipment was in my house. My wife, my child, the last born in the house, all of us were equipped with those equipment. I did not know who had threatened my life. The police in London never came back to tell me who it was. They only came back to tell me after 5 years that the threat is over, has been neutralized. To date, I have never been told who wanted to kill me. I've gone to that office to ask for them to tell me. The British police told me we shall not. But we have neutralized the threat. They even told me that when you are in Africa, the threat is lower. But when you arrive here, don't go to this place, don't go to that place, don't go to that place, don't go to that place. Don't come back, don't drink up to, don't waste time up to 8 o'clock, be in the house, be watchful, walk around, feel free, but places A, B, C, D, don't go there. That is a threat, it's real. My daughter looked at me and she laughed, cried tears at the police station. My daughter said, "Who is going to kill Dad?" My firstborn daughter, Miriam, she cried tears. She couldn't believe it. We left the station. I had left the African Union Summit. I was a correspondent of Sky News working in the Africa, who had gone to cover the African Union heads of state. That same evening, I left London, got in a plane through Nairobi, connected to Addis Ababa, returned, and my friends were happy. I told the friends the story that had taken place at home in Croydon in the Croydon police station. Now, a threat of that nature, which you don't know, it's better to record a statement. They asked me several questions. Do you know of anybody whom you have wronged? I said no. Do you know of anybody? Do you know this one? Now, as an investigative journalist, viewers, I did my own investigation. And I found out, for real, the group that wanted to kill me. Up to now, I know them. Some were even sentenced without me knowing. That's how British police work. Long sentences, because they had done it to so many other people. But I discovered my Pan-Africanism, the urge for Zimbabwe, the stand for African views, had rattled. At first, my first thing is, I thought it was Museveni going to kill me. Because at that time, I and the President Museveni, we never saw eye to eye. In fact, at the police station, I even said, is it he? Is it him? Then they said, who? Him. Because that is the one I was living in threats throughout. Threats of women, threats of poison. To a certain extent, I had to buy a poison detector. This is a live story I'm telling you. So, assassination threat to anybody's life is a very important matter that Kenyans cannot wash under their feet. Something has to stand up. People have to stand up. People have to talk about it. People have to record statements. People have to heal. Having brought that story and told you the truth, I want now us to come back to the reality. 40 or more people gathered in CCTV areas, which evidence the police can look, because every security person, everybody is analyzing the story. The meetings of the ministers has been going on. It's not the first time. It's not the first time that these meetings were being held. The directive for holding these meetings was done. It was passed through cabinet, instructions publicly, and on local media and the international media. Why does the threat come now? Why now and not that time? Why is the threat heading to? A security analyst like myself, who has some security senses, would look at the pointers among those accused and the accuser. Who's telling the truth here? There's resurfacing of a letter, an imaginary letter, concocted, written with green ink, removed the signatures. The English is very poor. A whole minister cannot write such English. Very, very, very bad English. In terms, it must have been written by a school dropout. A school dropout who is learning how to use computers, someone engaged in malicious computer cyber crime. Somebody doing this in this country must be found out. Because some of us feel for Kenya. We want Kenya to be the beacon of hope. Kenya is the beacon of hope. The Kenya is the beacon of hope for us in Africa. That's why we cry tears, some of us here. That you men that we stood for, want to take us the route we came from. No. Accusation, if you want power, you'll get it. The ballot will give you the power. Time has come for you people to stand up and say, no, enough is enough. If there is any differences, some of us are older than you. We shall do the peace talks. We might look like this because we don't have the money. You can have the money, but you can't remove the ideas of negotiation. Somebody has to stand up and stop this nonsense. This nonsense must stop. Africa needs Kenya. Kenya is a beacon of hope. We cannot allow it to go to lawlessness because of ambitions that are stupid. Anybody can have a dream, but the dream must be real. The president has a dream to develop this country as a united country, to use a redemption strategy to stand for the people of Africa. Time has come for the truth to come out. This type of politics, young men, stop it. Stop it. I might not have gray hair, but because my hormones are stronger. But it is coming slowly. Stop it. Hear advice from others. People don't hate you, but people hate the way you don't hear advice. Take it from me. You are disintegrating the state. That's why some of us were in the cold standing. Even when we were not wanted to be there, we stood there to support you. You want to take us the same route. Call me any names. Call me any names. Record this. But one day, these words will come in your ears. This is your nation. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has said, unite the nation. A united nation, a nation united in purpose, will deliver Africa from the bondage of slavery, neocolonialism, imperialism, the French hegemony that is saturating this continent. This is too much, man. I cry tears. This is a nation that everybody has hope. We thought that this could stabilize. Kenya would move. You can't leave Africa when you have not seen Kenya. And then here we are spoiling it. Let this be my final speech. I've stood for you. I'll stand for you people. Any external imperial negative toxins, malcontents will be delivered a blow against this African continent and Kenya. But in the eyes of the people's court, this type of things are not very good. You must learn to embrace, to move on. Disagreement of ideas does not mean hatred. It means someone wants to correct you. Don't listen to negative talks on your Facebook, your Twitter, and you think you have support. When the truth comes, it will come like a 2009. Nobody liked you. You might be liked today, but you are not liked in 2009. See where we are. See where we were. The situation, therefore, calls for real soul searching. The searching that is needed in this country. If we don't speak now, it will never be spoken about. Those who don't talk end up killing each other. Engagement in speech is more important. Vomiting the anger you have is better than keeping quiet. A threat on anybody's life is indeed a threat. Once it is established that it is a threat, the person must record a statement to the police. Therefore, the document, whoever was circulating this document, which I have told you was very poor English in terms of English language, that no minister can write such a letter to the president, must be found. And if that person is found, then the source of all information, whether truth or lies, can be discovered. That is not my work. My work is to speak with wisdom. Wisdom to help whoever has higher wounds, let the wounds cool down. Let them heal. If you have anything bad against anybody, heal. The building of bridges initiative is coming. A redemption strategy is on the way. Kenyans can decide to want it or leave it. Way back in Uganda in 1980, in 2005, we embarked on an exercise to find a way to end the Lord Resistance Army and the UPDF fight, which had taken 22 years. Little known to us, to me, as a chief negotiator of that peace process, because when I speak, some children here on Twitter and think that I'm just begging for lunch in Nairobi. No. I took an initiative to go and meet the rebels wherever they are and ask the rebels, what is it that you want to fight for, until when? South Sudan is now independent. Khartoum, Bashir, who gives us arms, is now dead, is now independent state. Where are you going to fight to where? The rebels answered me. The rebels answered me. What do you want us to do? I said, just start talking. When I told Konyi, start talking, he said, I think the only person who has come with documents in this meeting is you. Because I had carried all my documents from 1985, 27th July, Saturday morning, when a coup occurred and I left Uganda. The few documents that I managed to come with, I kept them in exile, piling them in files. When this process, nobody could stand up to say, I am ready to help. I helped. I brought out the documents. The rebels looked at me and said, the only credible person who came with documents, who has recorded this history of our country is this one. And the only person who can speak on our behalf and tell them, the world, because Ocampo had given a warrant of arrest for the same rebels that we are going to talk, whom President Museveni, myself, Rugunda, and the rest had agreed that we do peace process. You can see the situation we were in. We had 5 warrants of arrest from International Criminal Court to arrest the leaders of the LRA. And here we are. I was the first person with Riek Machar, Rugunda, Salva Kiir, to see the same rebels we are supposed to arrest and hand over to the ICC. So when we went to the court, in the International Criminal Court, where Ruto and Uhuru were, I was the first one in that dock. I was the first one charged. I was the first one taken in the court where Ruto and the President Uhuru Kenyatta were. In 2006, when we went to the ICC to tell them to drop the warrants, the late justice, the German justice, who became my friend later, said, you are now in this building, you have arrived in this building, you are not going away. I was with Chisano, I was with Riaka Macha, all of us were arrested. The judge, the German judge who dissented in the case of Kenyan case, I think you know his name, my production team can send it to me, that German judge. That is what I got. I became the first victim of International Criminal Court. For most of you who don't know, who think I am just all the time, I came to see ICC in Kenya. No, I was the first one in that court. The point of why they arrested me was since I found the people whom they were looking for, and I did not notify the government. So I asked them, the government in Garamba Park, the forest, Kinshasa and the Garamba Park is 4,000 miles away from apart. The government in Garamba, the people in Garamba Park don't know where there is a president in Kinshasa. The only territory where this man was in Congo, DRC Congo. So whom could I tell? I was not with Kisano. UN is the one that escorted us. Why don't we arrest all the UN soldiers in Congo who are escorted us to where Konyi is, and then you can arrest them? The judge looked at me. That judge's name, I'll tell you, is the late, is dead. From that day, that judge became one of my best friends. He became one of my best. Carl, yes. Judge Carl became one of my friends. Even he used my thesis against the ICC cases of Kenya. He dissented with the International Criminal Court. That is the type of life that we have been going through. We know there are challenges in Africa, but challenges should not force us to go to cheap ways of buying popularity. We know there are challenges in Africa, but challenges should not force the entire nation to slip into agony and anguish. The challenges of this country are many. We know where we came from and how we can get out of this mess. It is upon us as Africans to revalue, to evaluate the sins that can create us more chaos. Do we need chaos? Does Kenya need chaos? Does Uganda need chaos? No. We can talk. Continuing to talk solves removes us. Talking maturity, mature politics, politics without violence, politics without intimidation, without hatred, without tribal enclaves, without tribal tongues, without hate hashing words, helps this nation. The matter is before the people's court, and it is up to the people of the world to judge. Is it a hoax, truth, or friction? I have done my part, and I believe I've done the best. I've told you examples. Is there anything that can change? The truth must only come out when the complainant can finally put a complaint in black and white. Otherwise, we have created a rift that will not heal. I just want to thank you all. But before I go, I want to do a short clip. Fellow Africans, every time we are challenged on matters of importance, there is always a way forward in resolving such matters in amicable ways. There is always a path for redemption. The only thing that Kenya needs at the moment is redemption. Is a redemption strategy that can create a coexistence of all the people, all the tribes, all regions, and all shades of opinions. Challenges come at an hour where a country is on a test. Test runs are always the most crucial points. That's where experiments collapse. Kenya is not an experiment. Kenya is a nation that has existed for 56 years. The challenges, therefore, should not make us hate each other. These challenges should unite us, should unite the people of Kenya to push forward an agenda, to follow their president, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in delivering the agenda for a better Kenya. A better Kenya will produce a better East Africa. A better East Africa will produce a better Africa. The challenges, the obstacles that come amongst us are many, but we can overcome them through discussion, a wider range of discussion, wider disagreements to agree and disagree, to agree again and disagree to disagree. But we should not form clubs, units, militias, hatred of that nature that can take us to the history. Germany today is Germany because it doesn't want to go to the path of the history. Germany goes to the path of development. Over 70 years ago, Germany was at war with the entire world. Today, it is on the path of resolving some of the problems that come. I want us to stand in the place of Germany and look forward and backwards. See what we can do here, but not yearn for what is in Rome. What is in Rome is safeguarded. But in Sicily, which is Kenya, we need to build a foundation for the younger generation that we are going to live here today. The many who have no employment, the poverty, the ignorance, the diseases that kill the people of Africa. We need to find a modium of operation. Modus operandi. The only modus operandi on this is a united, peaceful Kenya. A Kenya united by values of respect and adherence to the rule of law, a Kenya without schemes of elimination or fiction of elimination or murders written by themselves, a Kenya without any hatred against the president, a Kenya that supports the constitutional roots that the 2010 constitution of yours brought. That is how Africa will rise and shine again. Thank you. Viewers, good morning. This morning, I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018, that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. this has worked in Kenya. And thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake, one lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Thank you. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Africa, the rest of Africa, North. Good afternoon in Kenya. This is our second show, Good Morning, Africa, together with our brothers in the world, in Bahrain. Thank you very much for watching us in the first show. And this is now Good Morning, Africa, Rio. That was an exclusive part of the People's Court. Together with me, Madam Miriam Ogutu. Welcome to the show, Madam.
Thank you so much.
I hope the first show...
You did a very great job.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. I saw the numbers are high because it is an issue that every African is talking about. Assassination attempt.
It is a very serious allegation.
It's a serious allegation that we cannot keep quiet about it. So this show now, I leave you to handle it. There is no topic. It is for you. It's free for us. Let's discuss.
All right.
Yes.
So before we discuss, do I just go
through the African news?
Headlines?
Thank you very much.
All right, indeed. It is noon here in Nairobi. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'll just take us through what is making headlines today in Africa, and then later on we'll look at it in depth together with Dr. Matanga. So we start with Somalia. And the Somali National University has held its first graduation ceremony for more than 3 decades. The civil war and insecurity in the country shut the university in Mogadishu, and it reopened in 2014. More than 130 graduates walked away from Monday's ceremony with their degrees. In 2014, only 550 students applied to the university, but by 2018, the number increased by 5,070. And in Burkina Faso, the authorities in Burkina Faso say militants have killed 17 people in a village in the north of the country. Defense Minister Sharif Assai said an armed terrorist group carried out the assault on Tuesday night in the district of Tongomayel. He said a massive military operation was underway to secure the area. And in Ethiopia, federal police have apologized for saying that the bodyguard who is accused of assassinating the head of Army General Sierra Makonnen on Saturday had killed himself. In a statement read on state media on Monday evening, they said that the bodyguard, who has not been named, was instead being treated for gunshot wounds in hospital. And in Senegal, the brother of Senegalese President Macky Sall has resigned from a top government position following a BBC investigation into a suspicious oil deal. Aliou Sall headed a body linked to the National Treasury. And in Cameroon, the United Nations Children's Fund say more than 600,000 children in Cameroon have been unable to go to school for the past 3 years. English-speaking parts of the country have been affected following an order by Anglophone leaders that schools be shut down. UNICEF says about 80% of schools in English-speaking Cameroon are closed, more than 70 have been destroyed, and dozens of students and teachers have been kidnapped. Anglophone leaders have been fighting the state named Ambazonia for the past few years. And still in Cameroon, President Paul Biya left Cameroon for a brief stay in Europe amidst growing global indignation over human rights abuses in the country. The crisis in the English-speaking western part of the country is causing outrage from the United Nations or to the sports field and movie theaters, as social influencers also demand for an intervention. And in Zimbabwe, the country has banned the use of international currencies such as the US dollar, South African rand, and British pound. Zimbabwe has not had its own fully fledged currency since 2009, when authorities abolished the Zimbabwean dollar due to hyperinflation. The ban comes in immediately that has caught locals by surprise. Shops and most businesses will only be allowed to accept the constituted currency RTGS dollars. Authorities are believed to have introduced the new measure to curb rampant black market currency trading. And in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa is under investigation for money laundering by the country's corruption watchdog. After reports of this came over the weekend, the watchdog called the public prosecutor issued a statement on Monday clarifying the nature of the investigation. It is said that the investigation stems from a complaint on 23rd November 2017 from the opposition leader Mumase Maimane. He has alleged that a payment of 500,000 rand, which equates to $35,000 towards Mr. Ramaphosa's 2017 campaign to become ANC leader. And in Tanzania, the country is debating a new bill that is going through parliament that critics say would stifle freedom of expression. What is called the special bill supplement has amendments to laws concerning foreign companies and charities filming in the country, among other issues. The bill, if passed, would require foreign filmmakers to submit their raw footage to the Tanzanian Film Board. They would also have to sign a prescribed clearance form before exiting Tanzania, in the words of the bill. If someone is found to have broken the law, they will be fined at least 5% of the production cost. And still in Tanzania, Tanzania's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has warned the United States Embassy in Dar es Salaam against issuing alarming alerts without following procedure. In a statement posted on the U.S. Embassy Twitter account on June 19, 2019, the U.S. warned its citizens to take precautions over rumors of impending attacks in a tourist area in Dar es Salaam. Tanzania's Foreign Affairs Ministry issued a statement saying Permanent Secretary Dr. Faraji Kasidi Mnyepe held consultations with Mrs. Janine Young, a representative of the U.S. ambassador, over the alert. And in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, as of Sunday, 1,506 people have died in the outbreak of Ebola in the DRC. AFP news agency quotes the health ministry as saying there have been 2,239 records cases so far. And still in Congo, and the International Criminal Court will deliver its judgment on 8th of July on the former Congolese warlord who has been detained in The Hague since 2013 for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Nicknamed the Terminator, Bosco Ntaganda is accused of recruiting child soldiers and ordering murders, looting and rapes committed by his troops in 2002 and 2003 in Ituri in the northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo. And we end with Sudan, where Eritrea's delegation to Sudan was welcomed by the Transitional Military Council, with President Isaias Afwerki sending his support to the army, the people and the political players. The delegation that included Eritrea's Foreign Minister Osman Saleh met leaders of the TMC and the head of the political committee to express their support for the prevailing transitional arrangement. So that is the latest from Africa this morning. Thank you so much. And in case there's some news happening where you are, please let us know, and we'll be happy to share with the rest of our viewers. But thank you so much for joining us. So Somalia, for the first time, the Somali National University had its graduation in 30 years yesterday. There's never been a graduation.
That is a very good sign.
Very good news, yes.
In the 30 years since 1991, there's never been a graduation. And the Somalia seem to have shifted. Most of the officers are in Uganda.
In Uganda?
Yes.
Oh.
You saw that. Most of the officers, the benchmarking is being done in Uganda. As we speak now.
Electoral training is done. Now that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So Somalia has chosen the two countries, or the four countries that went into Somalia, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Burundi, Uganda, and Kenya. 5 of them. Somalia seem to have disagreements with Nairobi, and therefore they seem to be crossing over, flying over up to Uganda to do benchmarking in terms of political theory, political strategy, governance, forming units on LOC style of how you can govern. The Green Book of Gaddafi. You remember Gaddafi created the Green Book cells, village cells from the bottom. And they grew up an economy that became the envy of the Western world until they killed him. Look, Somalia is a place where we should not only take boots. I think time has come for us to take there also education. Like these are very good signs that encourage us as Africans.
Yes, indeed. And the efforts from the neighboring countries who've been trying to restore peace there, we can see finally they're bearing some fruit. So that is something to be encouraged. So congratulations to the government of Somalia, and even to the graduates who graduated yesterday from the Somali National University. About 130 graduates did graduate over there yesterday. 30 years, there have not been any, level of good education happening there in Somalia. So that is a very, very good news. And now Mr. Paul Biya left Cameroon over the weekend for a brief stay in Europe, and that is beside what is happening in Amazonia.
I think the only country in Europe that Paul Biya can go to is France.
Is it?
I
saw one of our viewers here writing something earlier, and I said, probably from Cameroon. I said, I'll read it when I was listening to you. I saw one of the comments, and it was in regards to Amazonia. He's one of our ardent read.
He cannot go.
Yes.
Because we have waiting warrants. We have laid down lawyers in some of the European countries to arrest Mr. Biya before he leaves that capital. The only place that Biya can go for treatment and be treated and maybe relax is France, which cannot arrest him. But the rest of European countries are waiting with warrants.
So he's
the lawyers in the UK, we worked on that last year in the Commonwealth, when the Commonwealth was there in 2017 or so. There was a Commonwealth conference in London. That was worked out. So I don't think he can go to...
So did he go for a brief stay, or he went for treatment? Because it was not very clear from his office.
Yeah, treatment. He's a sickly man, 89 years old. He needs some treatment of that nature, of external injected medicines that can make his body work.
Okay.
But it shows how poor his health is. You see? Umehema sana Shumuli. Mzee umehema sana kunani. What is that?
Kuhema is like taking deep breaths. You're just enjoying your tea.
I am enjoying my tea, boss.
Yes.
Yes.
It's nothing serious, but thank you for that. And also,
and these microphones pick a lot.
It picks everything.
If you are so near,
yes,
it picks everything.
Yes.
But don't worry, we shall look for. We have other sides of microphones. I'm enjoying my tea, and when the tea goes down, you feel.
Relief.
I don't have any problem. Don't worry, my brother. Don't worry. This thing comes anytime, anywhere. Thank you.
So Zimbabwe has banned all forms of international.
Trade, you can have it.
Also international. It's not working from, I don't know, today. US dollar, South African rand, and British pound, they're all colors. So Zimbabwe has introduced what it calls the RTGS dollars.
What is that?
That's the new currency, as a transitional currency, as they work towards getting a...
Yeah, but it still works in banks. But you can't pay in currency now.
In the local shops.
Yes.
Everywhere. So will that even help revive?
I hope so. We wish them good luck. I think that's all we can say about Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Yes, good luck.
Okay.
I hope it will work. And let's hope it works. Emerson and his Minister of Finance, good luck.
Good luck to them. All right, so over last week, I think on Friday here, I was reading, and the U.S. Embassy had issued an alert about an imminent attack in some tourist attraction places in Dar es Salaam. But the Ministry of Foreign Affairs came out and said the U.S. failed to follow a proper protocol while issuing this alert. It really was not very happy in this. Why are they always very quick to issue such alerts? I know sometimes it's necessary, but could they not have given that to Tanzanian government instead of coming out and causing perhaps even panic for the tourists who perhaps were still were planning to go to Tanzania or were already in Tanzania? I don't know what's your take on that.
Yesterday we had very serious discussion on Africa. Are we independent or not?
Yes.
Such things like adversary notes make us not independent. We don't give adversary notes when 20 people have been murdered in a nightclub. But if you murder 20 people in African continent, some 20 people die, the Americans will issue travel adversary note. So such things are the things that has pulled Africa back, and I think time has come for us to have that thing of also retaliating with travel notes to their countries.
All right, and of course, Eritrea's delegation to Sudan yesterday was welcomed very warmly by the Transitional Military Council. Eritrea has refused to get its nose out of Sudan.
Yes, I told you. You know what?
So it's causing trouble with Ethiopia.
It links, yes, Eritrea and Ethiopia. Eritrea and Ethiopia, those two men, Zenawi died, left a Faki. And the Eritreans, the man, this Dr. Abe, this civil rights prime minister, he didn't know why Zenawi closed the border with Eritrea. Assassination attempts, assassinations have taken place now.
Even on his life twice.
Yes.
Abiy Ahmed.
They would, let me tell you, those Eritreans, that man, as long as he's in power, he will do something that will upset the history of this great region. You will see. He's not a man to joke with. That's why you see, again, just breaking news, Sudan, they have gone back to square one. Demonstrations are coming again. They have called for demonstration. A breaking news has just come now.
In Sudan?
Yes.
Okay.
It says back to square one. Sudanese opposition plans new mass protests. The calls for demonstrations after ruling generals said no. Sudan opposition announced plans for more mass to reject Ethiopia's transitional government proposal. Ismail Al-Tag, spokesman for the Sudanese professionals, said called on Monday for marches next week to demand the handover of power to civilians.
So then they want whatever Ethiopia had mediated.
Because Ethiopian model is a civil society model.
But it wasn't so bad, Doctor. In the constitution and the whatever that was going to constitute the transitional committee, he proposed the 7 from the civilians and 7 from the military, and then 1 person who is non-partisan. That was a proposal. What is so wrong with that? Equal number for both.
But
is it
his? It is not their government.
It is, well, that is what the Army Council has said.
East or West,
yes.
The military has to go to get the biggest share.
And they also wanted a bigger share in Parliament.
The military?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
But they're not elected members of
No, but this is not, there's no, mark you now,
there's no constitution.
there's no constitution.
So it's a free fall.
It's a free fall.
That's dangerous.
Politics of free fall, fall here, fall there.
Now they're falling.
Yes. So the military, at the end, I'm telling you, I told you and mark this.
Yes.
General Duguru will sweep these boys. They will not speak. They will speak back in Washington and New York.
They take them out.
And the while Sudan goes on.
Sudan will go on.
Yes.
Back to Bashir.
Backed. And while charges in court, release Bashir. Bashir will not be hanged. You know that very well. This is like a the Mubarak style. People who are not seeing this and are thinking there is something taking place there are just wrong.
It's just
Very wrong.
It's just a formality.
It's a formality. Guess what? That's a formality. Bashir will walk free. This man whom he promoted cannot kill him. The worst comes to the worst. Another army general atakuja katikati will come in the middle and sweep these ones and take out Bashir like Assisi did. Assisi removed Mubarak very peacefully. They cannot allow another general to go through humiliation. What about you? What about you? These are generals.
So they will not create that president.
No. This is a smoke screen. This thing of Bashir, of going to court, being seen, it's just to please the public. Why don't you talk the truth?
It's a format.
It's a format to please the public. Nobody is going to kill Bashir. Nobody will sentence Bashir. These cases will collapse through the law.
Because when the prosecutor last week came out and said he doesn't want his work interfered with,
and he was removed.
The military removed him.
Yes, because they want somebody to clear their general, to go home.
To go home. Which home?
His home. He has a home in the north. He will go and sit. You can't kill a man who promoted you to be where you were. That one, you see, the students on the street have got it wrong. They will not get anywhere. These professionals on the street just go back and make chapati and bread. Mwanze kukula. The river Nile is still flowing. We in Uganda, we have not closed the water.
The water is still flowing.
Yeah, if we close, you can starve.
So ICC seems to be wanting to stay relevant, and right now they're about to deliver a judgment on 8th of July. There will be for a former Congolese warlord. He was nicknamed the Terminator, Bosco.
Ntaganda, yes. Ntaganda will be some cases he will be sentenced because he took part in some of the places. 2, his sentence will be lenient that he handed himself over.
Oh, he handed himself over?
Yes.
He had
Ntaganda.
He had a warrant of arrest.
Yes, but he handed himself in the embassy of America in Rwanda. Bosco Ntaganda. Sentence will not be as harsh as you would have done to a person who absconded like a Konyi.
Or like Bashir.
Or like a Bashir.
Yes.
So Ntaganda will receive the sentence. He has served already 5 years in jail.
Yes.
So they will account that, and he has a time to appeal. So there is a process still.
But judging from the cases that we've seen at the ICC.
Or alternatively, the judges could find that some of the evidence did not corroborate his presence in some areas. But for him, he was a commander. He commanded. He's like a Thomas Rubanga. Both of them commanded the same type. So his sentence will be around 10, 15 years.
Okay.
To want to be. So he has served 5, he will serve 10, which he will serve half for good manners. Then he goes home.
Okay.
Yes.
So the judgment is due on 8th of July.
We await.
Yes.
Yes, next.
All right. No, I think I'm done with the top ones. But of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa is under investigation for money laundering.
Again.
That happened during, I think, campaign period in 2017.
Is charged.
It's being brought up now. I don't know for what reason. 2017.
South Africa.
Yes.
South Africa, of course, South Africa is a politics that runs itself, eats itself, executes itself, and liberates itself. That's the politics of South Africa.
Yes.
They can eat you when they don't want you.
And spit you out.
And they have that mechanism of ANC,
Yes.
which can actually make your presidency very difficult. That recall clause, recall. If the ANC sees that you are going to disrespect them, there's a recall clause. They can recall you from representing them. Yeah.
All right.
I think, given that we have done the most big part today,
Yes.
we want to thank our viewers. Anything else you have?
I think that's just
The Uganda, can you mention something about the newspapers?
Something
What
about-
is your opinion on
on
this?
this one. I think this is very dangerous for the country, and the DCI said is investigating you. So let's just wait and see what he'll come up with this morning. But this is something that should not be taken very lightly, and also people should be mindful before bringing out such things to the public, because I don't think it augurs well, even for the peace that we're trying to have come back in Kenya. So. It's a very weighty matter. The DCI is investigating it. So let's just wait and see what's really happened. And maybe tomorrow we'll wake up and the story would have changed. So, so there's a lot of politics in play here. So let's just wait and see what the DCI will find out. In the morning, I was watching another show, and Moses Kuria was part of that conversation in one of the television stations. And he said actually they were having the meeting, but it was for discussing development in the Mount Kenya region. And he said he's the one who even paid for that, for the whole of the sitting session. So they were not discussing anything that was out of order. It was meant to discuss developmental matters in central Kenya, and even the president was aware of that meeting because it was not anything in ill-natured. So let's just wait and see. And I was shocked because Moses Kuria has been very warm towards the DP. And from judging from what I was watching this morning, I don't think he was agreeing with the deputy president this morning.
No, but nobody agrees with. Let's be honest. Who agrees with you?
He was
You
being
go.
pressed and he couldn't
Let me tell you,
stand.
I don't agree with the deputy president on this. And let me be on record. Let people listen. I don't mind. If you have got an assassination, go and report to the police. Leave it to the police. But you can't make politics out of it.
The reporting would have been the right thing.
Yes.
Not a phone call.
You rise up national tentacles, newspaper headlines. There's a man called Mugunya who is always with the editor of the Standard at night. We have seen you. We are coming for you soon, Mr. Mugunya, because you change this. He changes this every time. But soon, your corruption that you are playing in the Standard newspaper will be caught. We just give you a warning shot, man, very soon. Because these are the people who are making life, even the campaign of the deputy president, worse. There is a group manufacturing documents which the CID should look for. This letterhead is not a government letterhead. It's manufactured by so-called cybercrime maniacs, criminals. They claim to be hacking. They know hacking. They hack euphemisms. They hack this. This group must be found. The group that hacks euphemisms. And they disappear with the passwords. Then the money is lost. Then they return the euphemisms. No. The other CID general covered them. This one must unearth them.
John Clark, thank you. Saying Team Kitaeleza, they will tell it all soon. That is another team.
Yes.
Team Kitaeleza.
Kuria, Moses Kuria, 40 people. 40 people in a room. These people were the three CS, but there were other people. Look, Moses Kuria was there.
Together with technocrats
yes,
from that region.
There are about 40 people. 40 people cannot plot to kill a person.
But also his argument in the morning, he was saying, what Kuria was saying, he was saying, really, even if you wanted, somebody was wanted dead, you will not give it up to the CSS to do that job. There are better people who could be in a position.
Exactly.
Not the
CS. CS cannot plan. A whole minister, cabinet minister, to say we talk about killing.
Especially this ones.
No.
Yes. So
this one, it has, you know, when you are about to fall, you fall badly. So check the slippery ground. This turning all these events, this is money. There's no newspaper here reading. The only paper that has written nicely today is this. The mystery. Plot is a mystery. But this one, the Standard, yes, people in the Standard, even the senior journalists, are complaining about a relationship between someone and someone. Thanks good, they are bringing a new editor, Ruto, that man, by fast, that's a good editor. The rest are conniving to put headlines that undermine President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay.
Yes. These Kenyan things, if you don't talk, you can die of heart attack. Because it's better to talk about them or keep quiet.
Yes.
Yeah. You people who are keeping quiet, you are lucky. Because, look, if you have asked the president, then why do you go public? Why do you circulate the letter? Yes. Why do you circulate the letter? What was the purpose of circulating this letter? It's to arouse the public interest. So that the public sympathy is on your case that I am now. And this one, don't forget, there is plenty of money. The deadline is running. People are changing tactics of rallies. The president has said he doesn't want any more political rallies. You can see the rallies over the weekend have changed into people carrying cloth, bags of sugar, cement, and so on. They are not now giving money. They are now buying wholesale. That's another trend which is happening. If you find on Friday, politicians are buying like in wholesale cloth, sandals, shoes, boots. You know that this money change is becoming a problem.
So they're taking it to wherever
in the form of money. So businessmen of wholesale, be careful. Because you might reach the bank and you are banking 20 million and you used to bank of 3,000 shillings. The bank will ask you, where did you get the money? I bought the mheshimiwa alikuja kununua my things. That is the end of your business. Na hiyo pesa utapoteza. So kama mtu anakuja na pesa hizo kwa wholesale yako, refuse it, because you might close the livelihood of your shop. When they come to seize, they seize the money. The goods have already gone, but you are the one suffering with the money.
But I think now they understand what amount of money they're not supposed to be trading with unless they have informed the local authorities. They have been told, the traders.
Yeah, but the traders don't mind. People as unscrupulous traders don't mind.
Don't mind.
Yeah, they want the money.
So they'll be left with that money. They'll not be able to change it. Because if you cannot go there and explain, then it's going to be a problem for you. It's going to be a problem for you. And also something else making headlines, Doctor. A murder trial starts today, the one involving Joey and Maribe, and the death of the late Monica Kimani. I think it starts today in a court here in Nairobi. Let me just read a bit of that. So after 9 months of intense speculation, the trial of the highly publicized murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani started this morning at the High Court in Nairobi. There are signs that the trial will feed Kenyans with a dose of high legal and relationship drama. Journalist Jackie Maribe and her fiancé Joseph Irungu, alias Joey, who are supposed to be celebrating a first anniversary of the engagement, will be seated together in the dock as the prosecution lays out its case against them as the key suspects in the murder. That is according to the Daily Nation here.
You know why I don't speak about Jackie Maribe?
Yes.
She's a drama queen.
What do you mean by that?
She told us that there's a baby shower.
A baby shower?
Yeah.
What is wrong with the baby shower?
Where is it?
She had a baby shower.
There's no stomach.
You don't know that.
But people have just seen her in court.
She had a baby shower when?
No, they advertised the baby shower on Saturday.
Maybe it was another friend's baby shower?
No, her baby shower with a photograph.
Okay.
A yellow photograph. Then it turned out the father came and said there is nothing like this. And this was Mr. Dennis Itumbi doing it.
Oh, okay.
Then people asked, what is all this? What is the publicity for? The parents of Monica have tears rolling in their hearts.
Yeah, they should be considerate.
Please, be considerate. Go through the trial. Finish the trial. If it acquits you, God help you. Go home. Start your new life. Broadcast. But don't go around in Facebook, this, that, telling us baby shower, this, nini.
All right, so let's just see how that will play out. Of course, Kenyans, this is something Kenyans will be really paying attention to. So
yeah, the girl might have not known. She didn't know. All of us have daughters who can cover their boyfriends because their love is stronger than the love for the parents.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well,
so let's leave the courts to make a decision.
The two loves cannot be compared. It's
yes.
different. Yes.
The father's love
and the lover's love.
Yes.
It's different. So, so members of Parliament's PAC's case right now is before Maraga, the money they wanted. And I don't know if he has constituted.
That is a nightmare.
It will be a nightmare for the CJ.
Yes. No, it's a nightmare for this country.
It is. 250,000 per every month?
Yes.
All these members of Parliament.
It pays the accommodation in Nairobi.
And the MCAs also.
No, all of them want to live where? No. In Runda and Karen.
But they're supposed to be there to watch over, to look into the people that elected them.
You know, they are taking the South African model. South African Parliament is in Cape Town. So all MPs are supposed to have allowances, house allowances.
In Cape Town.
In Cape Town. So all South African MPs have houses in Cape Town. The administrative capital is Johannesburg. And the judicial is in Johannesburg. And then the headquarters administration is in Pretoria, whereas Foreign Affairs, President's Office is in Pretoria, all those ministries. So you can see Johannesburg is the commercial capital. So all MPs, whether you come from Poranga, Limpopo, what, you have the same.
So that is what they're demanding.
So the MPs in Kenya have taken it on themselves, to make sure that they also get money like South African partners.
That's a lot of money, Doctor.
It's a lot. I don't know whether President Uhuru Kenyatta will sign such.
He's annoyed with the whole idea anyways. Maybe they would have asked for something reasonable. Maybe that.
There is something clicking around judiciary, MPs, assassination,
okay.
DP's campaign. There's something there.
Do you target with that money they're wanting or what?
An explosive political climate is going to come out of that ruling.
It's already explosive.
So
the political climate is.
Then there is something also to do between the Senate and the Senate and the Parliament. The Parliament and the Senate are in court, are actually going to court.
To demand for the same.
2, the revenue, the president invoked an order to sign the other order because the government had to perform, to function. There was an emergency. Whereas some NGOs have gone to court to seek that the budget Mr. Henry Rotich wrote is null and void. So
is it the same group that were challenging it the day that it was
so now if you look at that boiling pot, CJ, there is a team in the court that wants him down. Matanga also wants him gone. Then the MPs now want to test him, whether they can save him. They have taken the case there. Now, if you come to this, there is also ministers who might not be able to sit eye to eye with a man who has malined their name.
It's a mess.
You have already pointed out these guys from Mount Kenya want to kill me.
The other month.
Yeah. You can see Korea. You saw Korea in the morning.
I did.
Yeah, you can tell from that direction. This is where the thing has gone.
Yes.
This man has spoiled his votes in Mount Kenya. He's killed them. None of those guys I'm telling you, that is the death of his votes in Mount Kenya. Walaya Mungu.
But
you cannot point a finger. You know there is something you must mark. Bantu people are different. They have that thing there. You can I explain to you? They have that thing there of say, okay, it's all right. Okay, you have injured us.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
Why have they been refusing Raila in Mount Kenya? Has Raila beaten anybody there? Has Raila beaten anybody in Mount Kenya?
Raila supporters are the ones who are being beaten and murdered.
Now look, they have never refused. Raila, you see when you start, the DP is starting like a Raila. The perception is being sold there. Raila started by saying, these guys. Later on he changed the language. They started working together. Then again, he said, no, you can't trust them. These are the words the DP is making. So now with this final straw of the camel, you are choose the cream that influences the millions, you are done. And then you are not towing the line. If I were the DP, I would tow the line of the president. Every morning ask the president, what can I do, sir? Slowly, because the 48 rules of power.
You can't outshine your master.
Yes.
Rule number one. But also.
But you go in Kitale and release wizards. A man like that, Kimilili man is like a wizard. He came talking about God. This country can ban.
It can ban.
You know, if you have people like that, this must Baraza, the country can ban. He's saying they said several words. So then you have women. Now this woman of Kitale, Cheza Kiuno something. Jamwa, is it Jam? Jumwa. Aisha is on it. She went there. You know, if the president has to come out, quell this, stop this.
How can he stop this? Because I think he's tried by all means, by all means. He's said it. He's repeated it. He's said it. He's even.
They went now for Tuju. Tuju. The type of names they are calling Tuju on TV. You mean Tuju has no relatives? Let Raila come from Egypt. And you hear.
We don't do that.
No, Raila is going to, you know, he has been listening.
I hope he continues to be quiet. I don't want him to be caught up in this.
No, he's a politician.
He's an AU specialist.
He is a politician. You cannot be insulting him. You are even asking him that arudisha hiyo pesa walimpatia. Were you there when they were giving him money? This type of politics, Jamen, is what took us to ICC.
We are really getting.
We are getting there.
Yes, but also even as we speak in the bigger picture, I think this country needs peace, and it's a good path. The president and the opposition leader came together and set this country in a peaceful path. But also, I think it's time perhaps William Ruto was included in this. He seems to be, there's something about this handshake that really rattled him very badly. Maybe it's time they called him and had some coffee with him and make him understand. You know what, the DP. You know what, we need you.
But if it is like this, let me tell you, if it is like this, what about if they told him?
Maybe they
using reverse psychology.
It will never have happened. But maybe they just need to reach out.
We would be on the streets.
And if
I have not forgotten a rural guy who brought a dog, very well fed dog, big.
A German Shepherd.
Hey! You saw him. Yeah. That dog did not fear tear gas. I don't know. Dogs don't fear tear gas. But the guy was smart handling his dog. In fact, apparently the police did not touch him. I don't know why. They kept on running away, and while he was with his dog walking on near the Nairobi University. So look, it brought all kinds of people on the street. These guys were determined. They were going to burn this place.
And now that was averted, but now we are facing something much dangerous.
Yes.
If this thing is not taken care of right now, we need to get back to the right path as a country.
No, the only thing to get...
With such allegations, somewhere in the deep side of Eldoret, somewhere deep there in Uasin Gishu, believes that actually...
Yeah, I had a friend who called me. So no, a friend who wrote to me in a box. From there, he said, if this is the thing, but people, that's why you saw me in my first part. I was very moderate, advising.
Yes.
I did not hit. I advised. I said, it is something, you report it, take it. A threat is a threat.
It is a threat.
If it is now said that you wrote, you can see Moses Kuria, the first salvo.
Yes.
The first salvo, he paid for the hotel. That is where Ruto should see.
His friend. Because he said
that he's lost it.
There was no bad intention.
Yes, there were 40 people there. 40 people cannot plan to kill. They can't talk in a conference, we are going to kill. Because you don't know who. No. Yeah, let's finish the program. And no, we have 3 minutes.
We have 3 minutes. Also, John Clark here is really giving us the names of this team. John Clark, you're very helpful. Thank you.
The only team benefiting out of the moment is Kula Asali, led by...
Are you serious? These teams exist.
Mwangi.
Are you just playing with us?
Yes. That Kula Asali Mwangi. The honey. Asali Kula.
Led by Mwangi Kiunjuri.
Yeah, Mwangi Kiunjuri. The agriculture man.
There's team what? Team Kitaeleza. This is led by Peter Munya. This is just too much. I can't even keep up. But John Clark, thank you.
Then there is team Tikisa Kiuno of Jumwa.
Aisha Jumwa.
Hey.
She's leading the women brigade for the other side. Look at how we have been fragmented now. You know, we are forced into a direction where we are not really even... If we will not handle the end product of this thing that they keep... This pot, somebody keeps stirring here, the result will not be very good for this country. So I hope and I pray that somebody gets a hold of this and this is sorted out very, very quickly. Otherwise, we are really we are setting ourselves up to a country that we may not even have if we continue with the way things are continuing right now. I'm worried as a Kenyan.
I am. Thank you very much, Miriam. We are finished on the clock.
All right.
Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you for all those 2 programs. Coming next at about...
At 3, right?
3. 3 o'clock.
We'll have some business chat.
Business chat, African business. The 2 ladies will take us on. I think the poster must be coming your way. They will be discussing biashara.
Youth bulge in Africa.
Yes.
So hopefully we can meet here at 3 p.m. Let's have some business conversation around Africa and how we can improve our economies.
Thank you.
All right.
that it will be taken by the ladies. I will be just watching.
Yes, the ladies mean business.
Let's see.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that a dare? All right.
King Zewedi says someone somewhere wants to burn this country down, but he will not succeed.
I hope they don't.
You can see that. Everybody now, if you wake up and point fingers without going to the police, prostitution wants media out of Maribe, you see? Prostitution wants Maribe wants media out of Maribe Joey trial. I think so. That's very good. Wasn't I talking about it here? What did I say? I said it should not keep too much limelight. Too much limelight. Especially what Itumbi does, going to kiss her, to do what, hug her in the court. That's not necessary. Some people have lost their daughter. What killed her, we shall find out. But for you to glorify over the death of their daughter, it doesn't go well.
Doesn't go well.
Yeah.
So I think,
Maribe is a friend I saw in ICC, so I have no problem with her. But let her get her act together. I think the prostitution is correct
on
this one to ask the courts to bar the journalists from hearing. Well, but they will come up and say they have their rights. They have to be inside because the Constitution of Kenya allows them under Article 35 information access to information. Talking about the court.
When it's a matter of national interest.
Talking about the court. On Friday, there will be a ruling on the work envelope. I would like to call upon Kenyans to pray for me and to pray for us who for 3 good years we have struggled. 4 good years we have struggled to put this case across. I would like you to pray for me and pray for my counterpart who filed this case to close work envelope out of Kenya forever. So the ruling will be there at 9 a.m. in the morning in the High Court, in the court division of the Constitutional Court. Pray for me, pray for us. We have done our best. In case the case goes against us, I have other ways of raising the complaint through another member state to seek that envelope and to bring people to open the envelope or remove the envelope from the Kenyan books. Because believe me or not, the situation that is coming in Kenya at the moment, if we don't do that, Fatu Besuda will just come.
She's really trying hard to stay relevant, so you never know.
Yeah. So pray for me on Friday, 9 a.m. Dr. David Nyekorachi Matanga is in court.
You'll be there.
I've got to be there for the ruling, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll be here holding the fort.
Yes, hold the flower,
the fort.
The flower, the float, the what, everything, hold it.
Okay. All right.
So I will be in court. I am a democratic man. If the ruling goes against me, that's it. I filed that case. I struggled with it. I paid hundreds and hundreds, millions of shillings in going out to ICC to serve Ocampo, to serve Fatu. It's a lot of money. But the Kenyans, that's the much I could do for you. May God hold my hand and the judges give me a verdict.
All the best. So we see you here at 3 p.m. For Africa Business.